Hey everybody, Pete Weitzel here, the Wargaming Strongman, coming back to talk about 8th edition 40k being confirmed for July. I think it's going to be something fun to look forward to. So with 7th edition coming to a close, I didn't really get a chance to play any 7th edition games, but I do own a rule book. I have flipped through it. I do have codexes for my armies. Will they become obsolete, the codexes? I don't know, but I'm definitely going to go around and start buying up codexes of armies that I was thinking of collecting in the first place, just for fluff and story reasons, because anyone who's known me for any length of time or watched a couple of videos, I love fluff. Fluff is my big draw to the game other than painting. So one of the things I've seen talked about lots with some of the new rule announcements that are coming up, especially with GW in their own press release alluding to the General's Handbook, is that 40k is going to get Sigmarized. I don't think that's going to be the case. It's still going to be a fairly complex game, more rules than Age of Sigmar. It's going to be more than a 4-page rule book for sure, with all the different unit types and things and whatnot. But one of the things that really caught my attention was now that they're going to start introducing more narrative play and rewarding narrative players who have a very narrative theme based army. Like for me, with my Space Wolves specifically, not so much my Death Watch. My Space Wolves, I model them after Iron Wolves. That's going to be my whole kind of narrative thing, is taking more so what the Iron Wolves take. I mean, I might expand into the other chapters within the Legion, but I think it's definitely something cool. They're going to start having push for more narrative. I know that's not the tournament thing, it's not the competitive thing, but that's what I like playing. I like playing narrative battles and just coming up with stuff and doing stuff and making the game about something, a whole little mini story in your own little world. They definitely talked about having the General's Handbook for Age of Sigmar. Now, I don't know if they're going to release something like that for 40k. I don't really think they need to. But, I mean, a book of scenarios would be cool, which I guess when you break it down is what the General's Handbook basically is. Another thing they alluded to is the whole movement value coming back from, I believe it was 3rd edition. Kind of like how Age of Sigmar within their battle tomes and all that kind of stuff, and you can look on the app if you have it, each unit has its own particular movement value that they can move. I think that's a good thing, because I mean it gives some armies an advantage, it takes away some, it just kind of moves it all over the place and makes it a bit more diverse. So not, if everyone's playing Space Marines, which I highly doubt not everyone plays Space Marines, but I mean, who wants a Space Marine that moves the same as a Tyranid, that moves the same as a Necron? I mean, they should all kind of move a little different, don't you think? I think it's just a huge step in a different direction to make the games more interesting, more exciting, that not everything is moving at the same speed. So you kind of got to start outthinking your opponent to move your slower guys or your faster guys to try and outflank and be a bit more tactical that way. It's definitely a start in the right direction with that. Also, to my understanding, with shooting is going to be modified with specifically AP rolls. It'll move more towards the Age of Sigmar rending kind of thing. I think that's kind of cool, especially someone like, you have to remember, I'm coming into 40k as a completely fresh slate. I haven't even actually played a game. I've read the rulebook over and over again, and it's the more they can simplify and take away charts and all the chart references and things like that, the more it's going to speed up the game. Obviously, we can't do away with everything. I mean, that would just defeat the purpose, and it will be Age of Sigmar, and it won't be 40k and certain things, and even like certain armies won't have certain advantages over other ones in terms of like strength or anything like that, or weapon skill. So, I mean, you can't really do away with everything, and simplify everything. But this is definitely something that is going to make it easier for new people wanting to not play Age of Sigmar when they're getting into wargaming and moving into just straight into 40k. The more they can streamline it, but keeping true to the last edition's rules, I think is really good. But we'll see what happens. So there's also talk about the assault phase or the combat phase changing now. Who chooses to assault first gets to swing first, which I think, when you picture battles in your mind, and if you're like me, a narrative player, and you're always playing the story out in your head, I think that's a really good thing. Because I mean, if you're charging in first, and you smash into the enemy, wouldn't you imagine also swinging while you smash? I mean, it just makes more sense from, I guess, a role playing perspective, that the guy who doesn't have the higher initiative isn't always going to swing first. I mean, yeah, it does make things, I guess, quote unquote, more balanced. So you're not coming in, and especially if you got something like a horde army, like orcs or Tyranids, where you can use numbers to overwhelm something smaller, like a unit of Space Marines, a small unit of Space Marines, tactical Marines specifically. But you do have more of a fighting chance if you do assault with something like, a tactical Marine or something like that. It's definitely going to play into armies having more of an assault based army, or even just having a few assault dedicated units. With armies like Tau that aren't very good at close combat, I mean, it might help them out more if they decide to assault. And I mean, a lot of Tau guys I talk to, that's one thing you stay away from. But this might help them out if they have to get into close combat. I think it's a good thing, definitely. Also, now with morale, I believe they're taking away the initiative when it comes to morale. They're going to make it that they almost word for word from the Age of Sigmar rulebook. We're going to look at their leadership and then add the amount you lost compared, and then roll dice. Which, I mean, that could be good, but could be bad. It all depends if they're going to start coming out with a few new stat points for a lot of the armies. So with 8th edition on the horizon, and these few rule changes that I talk about, I mean, obviously there might be more. That this might be all there is. I'm assuming with GW they are going to include more, but I'm really excited. I'm not sure. I might hold off on getting out and playing some games now, just to wait until 8th edition, or just get out and play some Kill Team small stuff like I've been planning to. Now that I've got enough Space Wolves painted up, I can go out and play enough for Kill Team. 174 points or something like that I have ready to go. So I don't know what you guys think. Well, I think this could be a real interesting time with GW taking their big flagship game and changing it and making it easier for people to break into wargaming. I mean, not everyone's going to want to play Age of Sigmar and then move on to 40k or anything like that. Some people just want to get into 40k. And if you can make that easier with less rules, or even offering a few free things, like even if they just offered the rules for free and everything else you had to buy, I mean, the rules are a big investment in themselves, and it's kind of hard to play without them. So I think this is a big step in the right direction, and I mean, let's see what GW does with it. I'm really, really going to be excited to get my hands on the new rules when they do come out. So let's keep our eyes open for July. So anyway, thanks. Let me know what you guys think. And I'm Pete Weitzel, the Wargaming Strongman.